Welcome back to 6 Minute Style. I'm Susan Doherty. This week we are planting a potted herb garden. This is great. It's going to be perfect for your backyard porch or patio. Fresh herbs for cooking. You won't want to miss this one. Stick around. Okay, before we get started, let's run through the supplies you will need. You'll want a pot large enough to hold all of your herbs with room to grow. Also, make sure it has really good drainage on the bottom. You'll also need a bit of newspaper and loose, well-draining potting soil, a trowel and watering can, and of course the best part, your selection of herbs. Now, keep in mind what you'll be cooking often with, maybe dill, basil, cilantro, but also be open to some new flavors. We found this great golden lemon thyme. It smells fantastic when we were shopping, and we thought immediately of a white flaky fish that we could season this with. So pick out your herbs, you've got everything else. We are ready to get started. Okay, our first step, we're actually going to line our pot with newspaper. And the reason we're doing that, if you remember when we showed you all of the supplies, there's actually a pretty big hole at the bottom of this pot for great drainage. We actually drilled that, so you don't want to lose your soil. So the newspaper is just going to help to keep the soil in there. Speaking of soil, that's our next step. We're just going to go ahead, use our muscles, pour this in here. Nothing so graceful. But we're going to actually leave a bit of room at the top, actually quite a bit of room, because we want to set our plants right in here. And then we'll top it off once we've planted all of our herbs. Okay, we're ready to start playing in the dirt, which I think is one of my favorite things. I love playing in the dirt. So before you actually plant each of the herbs, it's helpful to arrange them into the pot so you know where each one is going. I'm going to grab my glasses, it's getting a little sunny out, which is great. Herbs actually love sun. They need about 5 hours a day. So keep that in mind when you situate the pot on your back porch or patio. Now, one of the things to keep in mind, you want to set your larger plants in the center. So we're going to go ahead and put the rosemary right there because that's probably going to be our tallest plant. I actually mean your tallest plant in the center. And then your lower plants and your trailing plants should go along the outside edges. We have a couple other taller ones, but because we have a pot that's not super big and we have a lot of herbs to plant, we're going to set this one right on the edge. This is our cilantro. That will grow up and out, so actually having it close to the rim is a good idea. And the other one is our dill, and that will grow up pretty tall. So we'll keep those towards the back and the edge, and then we just start filling in. We have chives, and you can see those already are looking to start hanging over the sides. We have our oregano, a spicy oregano, so we're going to set that there. We have 2 basils. I'm going to keep those together. One of the things to keep in mind with basil, it actually grows very, very quickly, which is good. You get to use it quite often, and you should use it often. I think the rule of thumb is you want to use about 1/3 of the plant and keep it to about that size, or else it'll start to get a little bit tough and woody. Here's some sage, which I love. These smell great. I always wish we had some way to pass aroma through the camera. This is a thyme we talked about earlier. And then we have one more. I have to look at it. This is our fresh tarragon. That smells lovely. So we'll set that right in here. So you can see this is a pretty full pot, but there's room for everything. Okay, we're ready to plant. Now, my oregano, I'm actually going to plant it right in its pot, and here's why. Oregano and mint both spread pretty quickly. They could actually take over the whole pot. So to kind of control and manage that, we're going to set that right there as it is. And remember, we're going to come around later and fill in with more soil, so you won't even know there's a pot in there. And then we're just going to keep moving along, loosening all of our herbs from their containers. Now we have a lot of roots here. We want to loosen these up just ever so slightly. That's just going to help the plant, keep it from becoming root bound when it gets into the pot. So we'll just very gently, it would help if I had fingernails. I don't have fingernails, but that's good. We've actually loosened those up a little bit. They can breathe, breathe, plant, breathe. And then we're just going to set that right on top there. So look, 2 down. Many more to go. Okay, and our last one, chives. Good cooking with chives. I actually love scrambling up eggs, sauteing some chives. Makes for a nice breakfast. Or dinner, as it is often at my house, because we run a little bit of a strange schedule on occasion. Actually, I lied, it's not my last one. My last one is this jumbo rosemary plant. So I'm going to see if I can actually get this out, if I need to call on my trowel. Yep, it's coming right out. You know, actually, I'm gonna adjust a little bit. Because this one is so large, I'm actually going to dig and maybe remove just a little bit of soil. I'm gonna throw it right into here. We can actually put that back in to fill in. But I think we'll need just a little bit of room for this one so it doesn't set up so much higher than the others. Okay, there we go. Now that looks good. And again, set this one, loosen up our roots once again. You can see the size of this. It's a pretty big plant, but I love rosemary. I think if I had to pick my favorite herb, and I don't want to offend any of the others, but by far, rosemary would be my #1 choice. And that's perfect. It's actually sitting at the exact same height as the others. So we're good now. We're just going to start filling in. Look how beautiful it looks. We have our bag of potting soil, but we actually found it to be a little bit easier if we pour it into a smaller container. It's just a bit more manageable. And then all you do is work your way around. Your herbs are set in there. Just put it in, secure them a little bit. It's pretty easy. We'll just keep working our way around here. Okay, we're ready for our last handful or so of soil. I'm just gonna put it right in here. Now, if you remember, we put that white pot in here, and check it out, you cannot even see it. Look at our herb garden. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get clipping and cooking. One last thing, definitely wanna give your potted plants, potted herbs, a nice drink of water. And as you're pouring, you'll notice the soil starts to settle. That's okay. You'll just need to go back through and add a little more potting soil, and then you will be done. And we're done. I'm going to thank you for joining me. As always, go to the website at 6minutestyle.com. We'll have more information, lots of good stuff on the site. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. This week's quick tip, herb markers. We found these adorable copper ones at our local garden center. We love them. We wrote the names of all of the herbs on them. They add both a practical and a decorative element. I'll sit that right in here next to my chives, and that is it. Thank you again for joining us, and enjoy your fresh herbs. We'll see you next time on 6 Minute Style.